Friends, welcome back. We are starting a new series and it's one of the most anticipated series. We have postponed it for quite a bit. Now we are starting it. Yes, predictive analytics has been started. We will start with the introductory session and it's going to be very interesting. We will take you through many interesting things which are going to get you very good in predictive analytics. We will start with introduction where we will discuss what predictive analytics is all about. What are all the business applications and use cases connected to it? What are all the famous tools and stacks that you have for performing predictive analytics? All this will be demonstrated to you. It may take 4 or 5 sessions for us to complete all these introduction things together. Stay tuned, and if you have any questions, please post it in the chat. We'll be very happy to answer the questions. First, we will start with Netflix and Amazon. Have you ever wondered how Netflix recommends movies? Most of the times you would have seen that the movies that you wanted to see, the movies of actors which you wanted to watch is what is recommended to you. Amazon always does a recommendation very nicely. Whichever product you wanted to buy is all displayed first. So it does predict it nice. This is all called as predictive analytics. Can businesses predict customer churn or forecast sales accurately? Can they do it? Yes, they are doing it. And how do they do it? They do it all nicely through the predictive analytics. We shall start with the definition right away in this session. Predictive analytics is the process of using the data, the statistical algorithms, and machine learning techniques to identify the likelihood of future outcomes based on the historical data. I use the term data twice here. Yes, it is very important. It is all data driven. The insights that you are going to acquire is all data driven. It's all going to be meaningful. We have got historical data with us and we are going to use the data. We are going to use statistical algorithms and methods to understand and analyze the data. We are going to use machine learning techniques to identify if things can occur like this. The outcomes, all these can be identified with the machine learning techniques, and that way we can predict. Yes, with the history, we will predict the future and we will use techniques for it. All this together is packaged as predictive analytics. It's all data driven. Yes, history has a tendency to repeat itself and we want to analyze and understand that history to see how and when it will repeat. And that's predictive analytics for you. We've got 3 key components here. The first one is the data. The second one is the models. The third one is the prediction. The data is nothing but historical and real-time data for analytics. You can even fetch the data real-time. And whatever data we are collecting will be analyzed properly. We need to analyze, understand the historical data and the real-time data for us to generate insights. Next is models. We have statistical and machine learning models available with us. And many models are there. We are going to explore all of them in this tutorial series, and it's going to be very interesting, with which we will be able to identify the patterns. It's more like identifying the patterns. We need to identify patterns in the data with which we will be able to predict things. And then comes the prediction. You need to forecast the future trends, behaviors, or outcomes. We have data, we have models with which we can predict the future. Yes, that's easy. Sir, do we need machine learning knowledge? Of course, yes. Do we need Python knowledge? Yes. Do we have to learn some new tools? Yes. But all of them will be very interesting and nothing to worry about. We will walk you through. We have data, we have models, we have prediction done with these two in hands. Why is it very important? Why predictive analytics is one thing that's very important for us. Predictive analytics actually help the businesses to anticipate the customer behavior. You can manage risks, you can optimize the operations, and you can drive the decision making. I can know what my customer will want by next week, next month, next year. Based on that, I can act accordingly and I can avoid the risks of failure. So predictive analytics is going to help me understand things better. And it is data driven. Anything which is driven by data will be safer for us to adapt. Predictive analytics can be adapted and you can embrace it very nicely because it is data driven. Alright, let's go deeper into the data first. Yes, what is it, sir? Data first actually. Yes, data is always first. Data is the raw input that feeds into the predictive analytics. It can be historical data. For example, the past sales, the user interactions, or it can even be the data that comes out of the sensors, the live transactions, all these things. It can be real-time data as well. The data can be historical or it can be real-time. There are three types of data. Fundamentally, it can be structured data, semi-structured data, or unstructured data. Structured data are very easy for you to handle and to work on. It's very nicely aligned and organized. You can see the picture in front of you, which is structured data. It's very clear and concise for us to go ahead with. The Excel sheets, SQL databases, all these can be used to handle and to work with structured data. Unstructured data are nothing but the text, images, videos, emails, social media feeds, etc. will be unstructured. We need a little bit of thought process to handle it. Yes, it's going to be a little challenging, but yet techniques are available. Next comes semi-structured data. This is a combination of structured and unstructured data. JSON, XML, all these are going to be examples for us, and we will deal more on that. What you need to understand here? Three things. There are three types of data. One can be structured, the second one can be semi-structured, the third one can be unstructured. Yes, we have to handle all these because the data can be of any format. You cannot say, I won't handle semi-structured data or unstructured data. You will have to handle it. There is where the techniques and tools will help you. The sources of data can be from CRM systems, transactional records, sales data, employee feedback, whatnot. Everything that we work digitally, everything that you generate, everything that you interact with is all forms of data. We can collect the data from internal sources. We can collect the data from external sources as well. The external sources could be the market research, the weather data, the social media reports, the IoT devices data, the public data sets. All these could serve as external data sources for you. Internal can come from CRM systems, the transactional records, the sales data, all this I told you already. So we can have two different sources. One can be internal, one can be external. We'll handle both. They cannot be ignored. Both of them are very important. The next very important thing when it comes to data is the 5 V's. People call it 4V, people call it 8V, people call it 5V as well. I picked 5 because I found it more meaningful. What is 5V all about? First V is volume. When you talk about data, we may have to handle large amount of data. That's big data. Second one is velocity. The speed at which the data is generated is going to be humongous. It's very fast. It's a very unimaginable speed at which the data is generated these days. You should be able to handle it. You should be able to analyze it. Variety. The next V is variety. We have got different types of data which are to be looked into. You need to analyze that as well. The data can come in any format, and that's called variety. You need to still generate insight out of it, and that's a challenge. Veracity. The data's accuracy and trustworthiness. Since we get it from different resources, it can be from internal, it can be from external. So it comes from different resources. Different sources are getting you the data, and obviously there will be a question on accuracy and trustworthiness. So that's to be understood. The value that it brings you on the table. We need to ensure that the data that we are working with, the data that we are analyzing, leads to actionable insight. We need to ensure that the data leads to actionable insights. Any data which doesn't lead to actionable insights is not useful. That data is as good as you not having it. So the 5 V's are here, which are connected to data: volume, velocity, variety, veracity, and value. Remember, Amazon tracks your browsing habits, purchase history, and search patterns to suggest products. How do they do it? We'll discuss that later. But just remember that they analyze it. I'm going to give you an activity right now. Please try it out and let me know how did you feel after doing this activity in the chat. We'll be very happy to answer your question. Brainstorm what data a retail store can collect to predict next season's top selling product. Right? You have to think. I mean it. You have to think. Brainstorm what data a retail store can collect to predict next season's top selling product. Well, the next one is going to be the models, which is nothing but the brain of predictive analytics. Models are nothing but the algorithms that learn from the data patterns and generate predictions based on the input data. I repeat, they are the brain. They are the one which will learn. They are the one which will generate the prediction. They are the one which is going to be very helpful for you in understanding what your data says. We will discuss more on this in the next session. Until then, it's bye from us. Thank you very much for following our channel. In case you have any questions, please go ahead and type it in the chat section. If you like the channel, please subscribe. Thank you.